What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Sense Esports Podcast. Today we have a special guest. We have Izan, owner of CSGO Matches. Before we get into it, I'm gonna let him introduce himself, let you guys know what he does, who he is. So yeah, Izan, thank you for coming on. Introduce yourself.
Well, I think you just did.
True, true. But more about who you are, outside of the gaming scene, right?
That's confidential, man. You gotta like really get to know me before I open up to you, man. You gotta butter me up here a little bit. I'm not just gonna lay it out on the table right away, man. Come on.
Okay, okay. No worries, no worries. But yeah, tell him, what you do with CSGO Matches and like how you got started with that.
It was kind of a fluke, really. I had actually just got back from out west, and
Nice.
I come back to Minnesota here, and I don't know. I just started watching Twitch, and I was really into Dota at the time,
Nice,
and
nice.
I was casting Dota games just for fun, really. Like nobody was paying attention to anything I was doing. And I came across, I was on the Dota
Yeah,
Reddit, and then I started watching Counter Strike being played on Twitch, and I bought the game and I started playing the game. I was terrible, um, but I found, I played it for a couple months or whatever, and then I found a post on Reddit, like
okay.
from CS:GO. I think it was called CS Matches at the time, and
Okay.
it was made by a guy named Potential and another guy
Mhm.
named Andrew, and I think there was one other fella. I apologize, I don't remember his name, but essentially they wanted to have some 10-man servers and cast the games and stream the
Yeah,
games for random people, and so they
okay.
had one server, um, and they were looking for casters. Well, I jumped on it right away because it was just something that I was looking to try out and see what happened, and everybody fucking loved it, right? I casted like 5 6 matches every day
Okay.
for probably a couple months until Potential had to go back to school, and he was like, just take this thing over. I can't deal with this. I don't want to deal with this. You're doing everything anyways.
Yeah.
So just do your thing.
Nice. No,
So
that's I think that's a lot of people in the industry, right? Where sometimes things just kind of fall in your lap and you kind of have to just go with whatever, go with it and push it. Did you think, based on at the time, did you think it would turn it out to be something like what it is now?
well, yeah, I did. I saw the potential in it. It's
Yeah.
funny, potential. I saw the potential in it right away because it offered something that nobody else was doing at the time.
Right.
Um, and we started with, we had tournaments. I did op tournaments and deagle tournaments. I had several. We called it CS:GO matches at the time. We didn't bring it down to CSGM till I think maybe last year.
Yeah.
Um, but we did tournaments all the time and actually ran two leagues, two 10-week leagues,
Wow.
both with 32 teams in them. And I did this all manually, dude. There was no automated thing on the website.
Yeah. No.
I had to take payments manually. I had to get everybody's Steam IDs manually. I had to set up the servers manually. I had help, obviously.
Jeez.
There was
Yeah.
some people with us, um, nobody was doing it. And it was going crazy. I mean, we blew up. We had over 2,500 people in the Steam group. 10 man's going all the time. Like it was pretty fun, but it was a lot of work, man. Like, and I just couldn't deal with it anymore. So I just kind of bounced from the scene for about 9 months.
Definitely, definitely. No, I agree. Sometimes it can be very hectic, being in the industry and having to do everything yourself. Even with some help, sometimes that isn't even enough. So how about, let's explain, what CSGO Matches actually is, right? To the newbies that don't really know or have heard of CSGM.
Okay, so right now our business model is a casting service for semi-pro and amateur Counter Strike teams.
Right.
We mainly focus on teams in ESEA. Obviously, we would reach out to CEVO teams too, but it's a lot easier with ESEA right now, just keeping everybody together. And what we do is we provide the same type of service that professional teams get during LANs and other online qualifier events where they have a caster or two casters and they have an observer talking about the game, talking about the strategies. And and interestingly enough, like one of the things that gets used the most about it is the VOD, like the video after the stream, because the teams go back and they watch the VOD and they listen to
Yeah.
things that we say on the stream about what they're doing during the game, and they pick up on it. And I've had multiple teams come to me and say, "Dude, the things that you guys were saying in that stream helped us so much improve." as a cohesive unit,
Yeah.
because we didn't recognize this,
Right.
like we were doing this, and then so it's a casting service for semi-pro and amateur teams right now currently, and I think we have 7 clients right now throughout ESCA, main,
Mhm.
IM, open.
No, I think that's really badass. Yeah, I agree. There's nothing else like that. I've seen people that have been trying to come into, that part of the industry and try to do something like that, but it really, either they don't do what it takes or they just kind of half-ass it, and it's really
Well, everybody that is doing that stemmed from CSGM.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh,
So
crap.
all the
That's
other people out there that we won't name names, yeah, it's all derived from this thing, from me
Oh,
doing
wow.
this.
So you
Yeah.
guys are the OGs. I love it. I
OG,
love
yeah.
it.
Oh yeah.
Nice, nice. No, yeah, I like how you touched on how you guys like to focus on like the amateur and semi-professional scene, right?
Right.
Is it fair to say that CSGM is very community driven? And you guys really like to make sure that the CS:GO community and the amateur scene and the semi-pro scene like get that support from you guys.
Absolutely. Like that's our bread and butter, and it really
Yeah.
has to be because we can't move forward into the professional scene. There's
Mhm.
contracts and all sorts of nonsense with who can cast what, and these guys have like 10-year contracts with
Yeah.
certain elements where you can't just cast games. Like we're locked out of most premier games from ESCA. We can't even cast premier games,
Yeah.
because of all this contracts and legalities and all this nonsense. So really, the only thing we can do
Yeah.
is focus our attention on these semi-pro, main level, and below teams. And yeah, like Chaz, my partner in crime here, has
Mhm.
really helped me out. He's got great relationships with these orgs, and
Oh,
we're starting
definitely.
to accumulate more and more because they see what we're doing. And like you said, there's nobody else doing what we're doing right now.
No, exactly, 100%. No, that's like I said, I'm a big supporter of, companies and just overall organizations that support the amateur scene, right? Because ultimately everybody's working for that same goal is to become a professional company or professional organization, right? And it's really good to see somebody, a company to come in and actually show the support in the amateur scene where there really it lacks things like this, right?
Right.
Um, you know, Say I want to become a caster, right, for CSGM. How do you guys go about, the whole vetting and what do you guys look for into casters?
Um, I there's you have to just have it.
Yeah,
The color guys, if for people who don't know the difference, typically it's set up with a play-by-play caster, right, who talks about what is happening,
right.
and then you have a color commentator or an analyst on the desk with you that talks about what did happen and what might happen. That guy can get away without having a personality, in my opinion. He
Yeah.
doesn't have to say too much. He's
Hmm.
very tactical and specific. But the play-by-play guy, they need to be on point. They need to have a great personality, a fantastic vocabulary. They need to have super quick spatial awareness
Right,
on what's happening, being able to read off the kill logs really quickly, and keep the tempo of the game.
right.
Like that's kind of thing. So when I hear, I get probably 10 to 15 people a month that ask me to be a caster.
Right.
We opened up casting tryouts last week, and we're actually going to be starting CSGM Academy, which
Nice.
is essentially going to be a program that people are going to go through with me. And also, if they're looking to become an observer, they
Okay.
go through Seifel and Chaz, and they're going to teach them the ropes. And we're going to educate people on different things. I'll watch people's demos of them casting. I'll talk about different stuff. So there's a lot of stuff going to be happening with that whole deal in the near future, for sure. But if you wanted to be a caster for me, you're gonna have to put out a demo of at least 8 rounds or so of you casting, and then I'll listen to it and I'll talk to you about it.
Nice, nice, nice. Definitely. Earlier you talked how you guys didn't you guys have just a tournament like, last weekend, I believe?
Well, it was going to be the 8th coming
The
up
eighth.
here,
Okay. Oh,
but
this week, right?
I'm going to Sandland with
Oh, nice.
Chaz. We're doing Sandland, so we have a meeting on the 8th that's going to take all day. We're meeting with the Stream.me guys. So I can't do it on the 8th. So we moved it to the 15th. But and then a couple other guys can't be there on our staff on the 15th. So we don't know. We're probably just going to run it anyway on the 15th.
Yeah.
But we didn't market it too heavily. We just kind of put a feeler out there
Hmm.
just to kind of see what was up, to kind of get back into our old habits of
Right.
throwing tournaments for the community.
So yeah, like so to kind of add on to that question, right? For esports, right? Is it fair to say that you guys in the future will be trying to host more tournaments potentially for the community?
Yeah, oh, that's really the direction we're going.
Okay.
Like we want to try to team up as much as we can with tournament organizers initially,
Yeah.
and then try to branch off into maybe becoming tournament organizers ourselves and actually have online and possibly land events with
Mhm.
prize pools. And it's going to be a slow process. Like we already have a
Right.
really good sponsor on our team right now, Azio,
Yeah.
and they're willing to put up a whole bunch of cool keyboards and stuff that they have for these tournaments that we're doing. So it's going to be a slow process, but like at the end, the goal, like that's the end goal. I would love to see a CSGM land with $5,000 prize pool start out with or something cool.
Definitely. No, yeah, especially sometimes, building these connections with partners is very important. And then like, you guys can easily reach out to a bunch of, quote unquote sponsors, but I like it how you guys kind of keep it exclusive. That's something
Right.
that I admire, right? To me, just being exclusive, making sure you guys partner up with people you want to partner up, makes it to where, there's more meaning to the partnerships. Um, Earlier you touched on that CSGM will be casting the CSGO event. Can you tell me a little bit more about it?
The Sandland down in
Yes.
San Antonio, Texas. I think this is their second one or third one. I think
So
the
yeah,
prize
somewhere, yeah,
pool
second or third, yeah.
prize pool is getting up there. There was some other stuff with it too. I think they had another game, like
I
a
think it was League of
console game.
Legends.
Yeah, yeah,
It was
League of Legends.
League of
They're gonna
Legends,
do.
and I'm not
Not
quite sure.
casting that. I don't know too much about League of Legends,
I'm a,
but
I'm a league head, so I could go
yeah,
on for
okay.
days.
Noob
But yeah, tell
should
me
play
more about
noob,
the event.
So it's going to be on July 28th, I believe, and 29th, or the
Yeah,
29th and 30th, rather. I don't know what the entry fee is. You could just check them out and just Google Sandland, and it's
yeah,
like the first thing that pops up. Awesome group of guys, real grassroots type of stuff,
yeah.
and they want to grow their event as much as they possibly can. I think they're full on teams right now with
Oh,
16.
nice.
So it's gonna be a lot of work for me for sure because I'm gonna be casting pretty much
Yeah.
every game. They're gonna have another guy down there, but it's gonna be CSGM representing the production and casting because Chaz is gonna be in the production booth.
No, that must be very exciting. And going on the excitement, if you had to pick a specific moment or anything like that you have experienced at CSGM, what has been like the most memorable, time for you guys?
I don't know. I mean,
Too many.
honestly, the beginning
The
when we
beginning.
were doing casted 10 mans, and
Yeah.
I was staying up super late
Yeah.
casting 5, 6, 7, 10 mans in a row with just crazy shit happening, and I would have admin control obviously because they're my servers, and
Yeah.
I'd fuck with the gravity in the middle of the round, and people would freak out, and we'd have like 60 people watching the stream
Yeah.
of just these randos playing 10 mans, and I mean I had a blast doing that, and I couldn't give you any one specific thing. I guess there was a bug when the new nuke came out,
Okay.
and, and there was these giant boxes. I'm not kidding you, dude. They were massive, like 10, 15 stories tall that had like
Yeah.
red error symbols on it, and we posted it on Reddit, and it got a ton of views.
Yeah.
All the CTs were giant boxes, so they were like moving around in the buildings, and the terrorists were trying to shoot them, but I was trying to cast it. It was absolutely hilarious.
No. Yeah. No. I mean, sometimes, yeah. Things like that, are pretty freaking fun and memorable as well. Um, Has there been something, that you've realized in the industry, at least in CS:GO or in any sports in general, that you kinda made you sometimes reconsider if you actually wanted to continue this or
Yeah,
should
every day,
I
every day. This community, dude, is super, super. I don't know what the right word is.
I don't even think there's
Uh,
a word, honestly.
there's a lot of backstabbing
Yeah.
and conniving and subterfuge occurring in this industry,
Yeah.
and a lot of entitlement and people thinking that because they have 12 Twitter followers that they're going to be the next Anders and Semler, and they get big heads and
Yeah.
they want certain things, and it's like, dude, you got to pay your dues, man.
Yeah.
Anders and
100%.
Semler casted for 10 years, you know, Counter Strike 1.6 and Source before they got big and
Yeah, they got
famous,
their stripes.
you casted 2 games and now you think I need to pay you $50 a map. Like it's pretty crazy.
Yeah,
The teams have a lot of drama too because like
100%.
the hardest part that I've seen for these teams to get through ESEA, like to make it to main or premier, is just staying together because there's so much drama.
100%, 100%.
Yeah.
And this is coming. I agree with you as an org owner. It's frustrating with when teams think that roster changes. I know we're kind of getting off topic, but when
Well, that's when it gets good though.
roster changes, are something that needs to happen right away, right? And this is what I tell players. I'm like, if you want to have a great team and you look at these top teams and you look at these players, a lot of those players have been playing together for years, right?
Oh
It's
yeah.
not like, one day they were like, you know what, dude, you're bad, so we're dropping you, so we're gonna pick up this guy, and then they were automatically good, right? It doesn't work that way. And no, it's so amazing that you see it, and it's like
Oh, I see it all the time. Like
it's
we've lost clients because teams just couldn't communicate, and it's like,
yeah,
dude, you practice twice a week, you play twice a week. Like it's not that big a deal, Like just suck it up. You guys work well. I've seen great teams that were so good fundamentally
yeah,
that just broke apart because of personality differences.
yeah, no,
And
and
I talked about this, and I did a podcast,
yeah,
and we talked about how stagnant the player pool is in the
yeah,
professional level. And we talked about that. It's like it's almost you don't want to take a risk picking up some new guy, some crazy skilled premier player.
hmm
You almost don't want to put him on your org because you don't know what he's going to be like with your squad, and I don't know.
I
It's
mean,
kind of crazy
the-
stuff.
one of the more recent examples, like when I think about that, I would say Mixwell's. When Optic picked up Mixwell's, people were like, "Why is he picking him up? Like, he's not that good. Nobody really knows about him." And I was like, "Give the guy a chance." Like,
Yeah,
like
you never know.
you never know. And now he's we'll consider one of the better players, and in the NA scene. But yeah, no, it's really, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a big advocate for people working together and pushing through it. Sometimes people just want the easy way out and they think that a roster change will make or break a team. And in some cases it does, but most of the times it isn't. If you stick together, work hard, work as a team, practice.
Well, it's the hard part, dude, is to get that professional mentality instilled into these kids because that's what they are. They're kids. You look at professional baseball teams or basketball teams;
Exactly.
those those dudes don't love each other all the
Oh,
time.
without
They
a
don't
doubt.
hang out and barbecue afterwards. They don't talk on Skype all day
Right.
long or Discord. They go there, they do what they're getting paid to do, and they go
Exactly.
home. And that kind of mentality is very difficult to get to the minds of 16 to 18-year-olds who
Right.
are just like, whatever, with their whole life anyway. And then they come and they play some games. But once they get that though,
Oh yeah.
and if they're there, they can push. The sky's the limit at that point if they have the capabilities.
No, yeah, 100%. That's what I've told my CS:GO team. I tell them, guys, I was like, if you guys individually, you guys are good, right? But it's about how to become good as a team. And if you guys just keep on doing roster changes, it's not going to work out overall. You guys are
Right.
just thinking so short term, and short term success doesn't really matter when you want to get long term success, right? To become at one point become a professional player and professional team.
Right.
And no, honestly, it's really humbling to see that I'm not the only one that sees this. It's almost like, okay, yes, I can say I'm not just
Right.
delusional and I'm not just speaking out of my
No,
ass.
that's a big challenge, man. Biggest hurdle for sure is just
Exactly.
to have everybody stick together through even get through an entire season, let alone work your way up from open to main.
Man,
You
forget
know,
the season. Get us the same roster for 2 consecutive games is sometimes
there
even
you
difficult.
go. There
No,
you go.
yeah, 100%. If you had to pick one match that you casted that has been your favorite match, it can be with any team really. It doesn't really matter that you think you were like, holy shit, like this is probably the best match I've ever casted or
Ben
seen.
Silly, Ben Silly. I casted the SIVO finals last season with Ben
Nice.
Silly, and it was on train,
Oh
and
shit.
that was such a good cast. Like I was humbled by how good he was at his timing with
Yeah.
me. He let me lead too. He's normally a play-by-play.
Nice.
And he let me lead. He says, "You do the play-by-play, I'll color for you." And him and I were. It was so good, man. I was in sync with him like nobody I've ever casted with before, hands
Yeah.
down. The game went really well. There was a ton of action. There was some big YouTube clips that came out of that game with us. He tweeted me out and added me
Sick.
on Twitter and stuff. So that was pretty cool. So that match for sure
Okay.
Definitely stood out for me as like my best game. I've casted a ton of games for like Fragadelphia.
Yeah.
You know Fragadelphia?
Yeah, I
You
know
ever do
Greg.
that? Okay. For Rob and them. Rob and them used to be on my team speak back in the
Yeah.
day. Like we were going to facilitate their online tournaments. CSGM was
Okay.
for their qualifiers. Well, not qualifiers, but like their first place guy gets expense paid trip and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And like topical is
Top no.
he cast for the Mountain Dew League with
Oh,
Scrawny.
okay. Okay.
He started at CSGM.
Oh, wow.
Like I found that guy. I casted probably upwards of 50 games with him. I spent
Nice.
hours of my time talking to him and teaching him things on what to do. And
Right.
now look at this dude. He's that dude's going to be at the ESL desk next year for sure. I guarantee it.
No, yeah.
So
No, you see, like, wow, yeah, like, definitely, right? People can actually be like, hey, you know what, guys, this is somebody you can look up to, right? This guy came through here. He worked his butt off. He learned, and then look at him now.
uh,
Um,
you got a lot of opportunities kind of handed to him by
true.
me
Yeah, some
and
people
some
are
other
lucky like
people.
that.
They are lucky, but like you said, he played the game.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of people that have come through CSGM that I've put their careers on launch because this platform doesn't exist anywhere else. So people
Right.
looking to become observers or casters, once they hear about CSGM, they're like, "Oh my god, I want to come here." So I mean, there's in our cast room right now, there's 15 casters that all have gigs because of either connections through CSGM or me personally
Yeah.
allowing them to cast here, and
Right.
uh, and they're having a great. They're starting their casting career, and it feels good to me
Yeah. No, I mean,
to be a part of that.
honestly, that I think that's really cool, right? In other industries, like in other esports, like Call of Duty, League of Legends, like there really isn't anything like that where you can go and like be like, hey, you know what? Like I want to start casting here, and work my way up and potentially become a professional caster. I mean, Call of Duty, all the casters are just ex pros or you
Right.
either know somebody, right? Like, oh, I just want to cast, give me a shot. And then if you know the right people, then you'll get it, right? I think
That's
this
how
is
this
cool.
is too, though.
True, true. But I feel like here at least there's a place where if I'm interested, I can go and reach out to, and if I'm good enough, I'm allowed to.
Absolutely. I mean, if you're not absolutely terrible, I'll let you cast some games, and and
Yes,
we chip up some of the money too to
right,
the casters. So these guys aren't casting for free.
right,
So
yeah, yeah. No,
pretty
definitely.
neat.
I feel like if there was, because casting as esports grows, it's going to be a lot more common. A lot more casters will come in, and I think that's good, right? Because casters at the end of the day make it amazing for the viewers, right? It makes it to where viewers actually want to sit and watch because of the casters. I mean, if you just watch a gameplay, it's boring. Nobody cares, right?
That's like dude, I've been on this train of thought with that for so long
Yeah,
because I'm torn, right? So
yeah,
in the beginning, when I was doing this stuff, it was
right.
me like 100% Izan casting, and I'm a goofball at times.
Yeah,
Anybody who's heard my old school cast,
yeah.
half the game I'm talking about some random stuff. I'm not even talking about the game.
Okay.
And doing that generated way more revenue for us, way more viewership because I started to become a personality that
Exactly.
people would come watch rather than just watching the game. And now we're in a situation where we have to provide our clients with a specific service.
Mhm.
And I'm kind of bottlenecked on my otherwise wild behavior most of the time. And then
Right.
I'm torn with it because, on one hand, I want to be able to just let loose and be myself and bring that viewership and followership to the CSGM channel and
Right.
brand itself.
Mhm.
But on the other hand, if I go too crazy, some organizations might not want to see that stuff.
Yeah.
They want the professional casting, they want it analytical, they want it intelligent and
Right.
professional. But if you listen to me cast my games, I
Yeah.
kind of throw a little bit of that nonsense in there every now and then. But I don't. I'm nowhere near what I used to be for sure.
No, 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 yeah, definitely. I mean, in League of Legends, a couple of the casters that cast LCS, they be throwing like shade at players, talking smack about the records. But that's the thing though, right? There's like a balance, and it's
Right.
fun, right? It makes it fun for entertaining for the viewer to actually be able to see the personality, not only the voice or whatever, but like see who he actually is in real life, right?
Right. S- Um, Sadakist is
Okay.
the only one out there right now that does that. The DDK
Okay.
and whatever the black DDK, I don't know his name. I forgot his name. You know what I'm talking about, right? The
Yeah.
guys who cast for Faceit.
Yeah.
They have their little banter moments too, where they're kind of off topic. But Sadakist is the one that really I admire because he
Yeah.
is a top level tier one caster out there
Right.
who doesn't fit the norm, right?
Oh wow. Yeah.
So I like him. He's my favorite by far.
No, definitely, definitely. But yeah, no, I'm honestly, the service that you guys provide is very, very, very cool, right? I think there's nothing like it anywhere else. It's very unique, and I really hope maybe in other esports that's more common, right? Where there's more casters and companies like yours, CSGM, where they're willing to help out the community, the amateur scene and semi-professional scene to help them, get their stuff casted and to where
Right.
it looks professional and presentable.
Absolutely, dude. And
Um, you know,
we're gonna keep plugging along here for sure.
Oh no, definitely, definitely. Is there anything you can disclose that you guys are working on or anything like that that people should look out for in the near future with CSGM?
Um, the CSGM Academy for sure is going to be the big thing. Where
Okay.
it's something that we've been doing anyway,
Right.
but we're going to put a flag on it, and I think it will push our brand a little bit more in the industry if people are recognized as being sort of qualified to cast.
Right.
If we have like our reputation isn't that big, but it's kind of known in the amateur
Hmm.
semi-pro area of Counter Strike right now.
Right.
Well, we're trying to facilitate this thing where someone comes through and says, "Hey, I want to cast your game." And by the way, I went through the CSGM Academy and qualified as a caster for them.
Yeah.
That might give them a little bit more clout, I guess, in
Okay.
certain situations when they're advertising themselves and applying to be casters for different things. And it might just look better as a whole if like it starts to get a bit more organized. I mean, I don't want to
Right.
go as far as saying like a unionized caster
Right.
group, but everybody kind of on the same page, everybody kind of going after the same amount of money, everybody kind of with the same fundamental casting styles, and especially for observing too, like
Yeah.
that if you can get an observer gig, like you're set, if you're good at observing, because nobody wants to do that crap.
Yeah. No, I mean, I like how you touched on how pricing and getting paid is something I guess the casters kind of agree on. In other esports, there's been issues where some casters feel like they're entitled to um, more, more money,
Right.
because of the event. What's like your take on that, right? Should casters be paid more depending on the event, or is it more like it should just be a flat?
I think it depends, number one, on the caster, if they're good,
Yeah,
if they're worth more.
fair,
But the standard pricing, I mean, you can look at our website at any time on our services. Our prices are there for everybody to see them.
right,
And some people didn't like that in our staff because they thought maybe it'd be easier for us to get undercut if people know what we're charging and stuff like that. But I wasn't concerned about it. Like, we offer a pretty solid product.
hmm,
And if people want to undercut us, if another org says, we want to save $5 here or $10 here, it's a free market. I can't control them.
right,
But as far as like a big event, um, if you get approached by an
right,
organization or the event organizer, say, "Hey, I want you to cast," I think you could have some leeway to negotiate some fees at that point. But
hmm,
if you're soliciting your services, you got to be in a competitive area for those prices. And right now, like, we're not charging. I mean, there's people that charge way more than we do just
yeah,
for one guy. Um, and I think it has a lot to do with just us getting out there as much as we can, but also being compensated for our time and setup of the streams and the logos and details about the teams and things like that. So there's like a lot of stuff that goes into it. We're not breaking the bank over here at CSGM, but it's enough to where we can keep going forward and continuing to provide this service for all these teams out there, hundreds of teams. So
oh, definitely. No, yeah, I mean, I see teams, they the casting itself, to use for like for a VOD is good for the players to review,
right,
to look at things like strategic things that you guys point out that they don't realize. Also too for like from an organization's perspective, taking the VODs and using them to as like videos for like YouTube or as promotion purposes. There's multiple uses for the service, right, that people can do, and I think that's just really cool to see you guys doing what you guys do, building this like almost like a package for the teams to use because ultimately
right.
it's multi-purpose, right? They can use it for really anything if they really want to, um, and I think that's really cool. Definitely, the player being able to go back and look at it, because I did realize when I was watching some of the matches that you guys casted for us, you guys noted a lot of things that I was like, I'm pretty sure the player does not know this. So
It
definitely,
happens.
yeah,
Like, a lot of times you're in the heat of the moment, as a player. I'm not fundamentally, I'm pretty good at Counter Strike, right? Like, I
mhm,
understand the game and what's happening
right,
a little bit, like not crazy. That's why I'm not an analyst. But I've been in games before. You get kind of sidetracked and you do certain things, and it is nice to go back and look it over. And when you watch a stream, right, of two independent people casting your game versus rewatching the demo with your team, it's
right,
way different because with your team, you're
100%,
kind of in this echo chamber, right, where you're throwing the same ideas around back and forth.
exactly,
And with the stream and casters on it, you have this new information that's coming in, like, oh, well, that's an idea, or even if it's something they already know, at least it
yeah.
reaffirms, their ideology for those specific strats.
No, 100%. Something that I feel like some of the casters, I feel like sometimes can be even good coaches because they've watched so much CS:GO.
Yeah,
They've seen the best teams play, they've seen the bad team play, and they know strats and they know all this stuff, right? So I was like, well, I think it's cool that the casters know a lot about strategical things and also just overall common knowledge that some players might miss or not have. Um,
yeah,
but when it comes to other esports, the CSGM, maybe ever see going into other
I would
industries like
love
other
to.
esports.
I would love to, man. I want
Th-
to so bad. I want to cast Dota matches. I want to do the exact same thing for CS:GO
Yeah,
for Dota.
nice.
Like, literally just transfer, just have a whole nother thing going on for Dota is this. Amateur casters, semi-pro amateur teams start out with 10 mans, get some attention. Like, literally, that's what I want to do. I
100%.
also, once Player Unknown Battlegrounds
Oh yeah,
gets their open spectator
yeah.
stuff, definitely you will see me casting those games for sure.
No, especially games, battle royale games. I think casting would be probably one of the most fun things to watch in those type of games.
It'd be
It's
a lot of free time. Like, like that would be the environment I would love because
yeah,
I could be sort of whatever. I don't have to be specific all the time. Like
right.
this guy do over here. I could be fool around and do the exciting big play stuff going on. So
100%. No, definitely. No, I think it would be definitely cool because you guys would be like that, the pioneer, right? When it comes to other esports, because things like CHM lack in other esports scenes, and I think it would be a huge asset to the scene overall to have
yeah,
something like CS:GO matches in every specific esport, to show the support for the casters, also for the amateur scene, right? Because I think you guys
right.
it's you guys do double work. You guys help yourselves, but at the same time, you guys help the community and the amateur scene grow. And I think that's pretty badass.
Well, thank you, dude.
No, man,
Much
definitely, definitely.
appreciated.
So we're at the end of the questions. One more. Where can people find more about CSGM and you?
Well, you're not going to find any more information on me, but you can go to csgm.tv.
Yeah,
It's got all our social media on there. It has everything. The academy will be up soon. The site's going to
yeah,
get revamped very quickly here
yeah.
with our web developers and graphic designer Wexit and Kenan. Those guys are working tirelessly at slave wages,
Gee,
creating new content for our
esports.
website and stuff. So yeah,
Yeah.
and the podcast page is up there. I have a whole bunch of them that I never uploaded,
Hmm.
and definitely not as regimented as this one. They're very free flow.
Yeah.
So we kind of like they're the off topic is the entire thing. Like, it doesn't really do anything but
Anything works, man.
go wild. Yeah, but it's just fun. Like, I
Yeah.
love being behind the microphone, I guess.
Yeah.
So um, I don't know. I'll give a shout out to a guy, um, if I can, Plag guy.
Yeah.
He was another guy that came here. I brought him in. Um, I think he was casting like casual matches or something,
Right.
and somebody found him or whatever, introduced him to me. And that same thing happened with Topical and 90% of these other guys that cast here.
Right.
Somebody found him, brought him in, and he's that dude's a autism character, dude. Like, I can't handle him for more than
Yeah.
10 minutes, and I haven't talked to him in a while, but he's doing voice acting and stuff now.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it stemmed from him, casting games here and then
Right.
getting into other stuff and making connections. And yeah, he's doing voice acting now, which is pretty cool.
No, it's pretty badass. And like I said, I think this is an opportunity that people can definitely look into if they're seeking, maybe they don't want to go the traditional becoming a player or working as a, a in a managed position in a company in esports. I feel like being a caster, and if you have the personality, I think it's great that you guys provided this platform for people that have that to come in and try to build their resume and build, this career for
Right.
themselves.
Exactly,
Um,
dude.
no, definitely. But honestly, once again, thank you for being on. That's all the questions I have for you today. If you want to add anything, any plugs, any shout outs to anybody, now's the time before we
Well,
head
I
off.
mean, I'd like to thank my staff for sure. Chaz, Quiet, Seifel. Those guys are, done a lot of work. Wexit is that guy has created every single logo for CSGM since its inception, and he's a
Right.
German dude, and he's really good at everything that he does, and I love that guy so much.
Definitely.
And all the casters that are here at CSGM trying to work their way up the ladder of fame and fortune.
Yeah, no, it's a grind, man, right? And I think you know that because you've been here since the start of CSGM. So
Right.
it's a grind. Just keep pushing through it. But with that said, I think that's gonna be the end of this episode, guys. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, unfortunately our YouTube sucks, so we're not gonna be streaming on there. Possibly not, no longer. But yeah, thank you for coming on, man. Any links that we any social media links will be down below, so you guys can go check CSGM out. Um,
Nice.
and find all the stuff about them and get some of your matches casted. But with that said, I'm gonna be checking off, guys. See you guys next time.